Alright, you need two things to change his sight. This little doodad here, it's an Infusion Inset, and an alcohol prep wipe. Today we're going to go to this arm right here. The location should be on like the tricep, the meaty part underneath. You want to move it around an inch or two here and there so it's not at the same spot. Usually you can kind of see where it was before, though I don't actually on this one. So pretty good. So I'm going to wipe all that there. While the alcohol is driving, I'm going to open this up. There's a plastic, there's a red stripe. I don't know if you'll be able to see that. Where you start, well now my hands got alcohol all over. So you take that wrapper off. There's an underneath paper one, and then there's a hard plastic cover on top. The real easy one to forget is there's a needle guard right here. You're going to pull that off. Sometimes it wants to pull the whole thing. I usually twist it a little bit as I pull it. Okay. Unwind the tubing. Unwind all the way. And you want the tubing sticking out the top. There's a little notch at both the top and the bottom. I like to put it in the notch, put my finger over it. There is paper covering to cover the sticky stuff. That's what's going to stick to his arm. And so now we have the tubing held there. We've got the sticky stuff opposed and the needle that's going to put the cannula in. We're going to pull this back. And now I said hold this tubing here, but you want to hold it lightly because you're going to pull that back and it's going to lock it in place. But the way it gets undone is by pressing these two spots as little finger holds. And so if you're holding that tubing too tight, it won't engage. So you're just holding it lightly, pull it back, and then we're going to line it up. We want the tubing going up towards his head. There's what?
A little arrow.
There's a little arrow. Where? Oh yes, there's a little arrow. A little triangle actually. Points up. That's where you want the tubing and the tubing heading. So we're aiming that up his arm. Should be all the alcohol should be dry by now.
One,
so he's gonna squeeze it.
Two,
count down for us. Sorry, count again.
1, 2.
Alright, and it goes. He pushes a little bit to make sure the sticky stuff stays. Pulls it out. The needle is still there, so we take this hard plastic, put it on top, so nobody gets poked with it. That's ready to go in the trash. He unhooks this. Unhook it. There we go. You want to save this for when you change insulin later. And then he rehooks. Or is it connected right now? Alright, so look at me while he's disconnecting. And so he's going to take the old one that's currently connected in a site in his rear end. He's going to take that out, put that there, and you're not quite done yet because that little needle put essentially a little catheter, a little plastic tubing into his skin. And so now that tubing is empty. And so it's called a cannula. That little catheter is called a cannula. And so we're going to fill that cannula. Alright, so he's reconnecting the actual one that's hooked up to his pump. Alright, we're going to get the pump out. 1, 2, 3 to unlock it. Options, load. And there's a bunch of options here. We want fill cannula. Yes, it's going to stop all deliveries. Okay, connect next to fill cannula with insulin. Yes, it's only going to fill 0.3 units, not much, because it doesn't take much to fill that. It'll do that automatically. There it goes. And then it will be done because it was super short. So it stopped the fill. We're saved. It's set on a 2-day reminder, though a lot of times if his numbers are good, we'll go to 3 days, but you never want to go back past that. Because the site will eventually start absorbing the insulin not as well as it did before. So right now he's been running a couple 300 numbers, and so that tells us that the site he was using was starting to fail. We'll hit resume, and so that's why the sites have to be rotated. And now we're done. He's all set to go. He can go play, eat, do whatever.